I opened my restaurant because cooking over an open fire was my thing. Scratch-made cobbler, totally my thing. But spreadsheets and payroll, just not my thing.
Regions helps business owners keep up the good work and simplify the other work with business checking account options and time-saving cash management tools.
More time doing my thing works for me.
For tools and services to help you keep up the good work, switch to Regions at regions.com/smallbusiness. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Live from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studio, inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel, it's time for Regions Business Radio. Regions Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank. Brave the beginning. Member FDIC. Now, here's your host, J.D. Mealor.
Welcome to Regions Business Radio. I'm J.D. Mealor. I'm the host. I'm the market executive for Regions in the Northeast Georgia area. And I'm very happy to be coming to you in the month of May, which is Asian American Pacific Islanders Month. And we're going to have a show today that's focused on our friends, our neighbors, and our community relations with businesses and individuals that are representative of the Asian American Pacific Islander heritage. At Regions, we like to say that we celebrate these vibrant, multifaceted communities and their historical and cultural contributions as an integral part of building Regions' culture of inclusion. There's a lot being said today about cultures of inclusion, and I certainly do want everyone here with me today and listening to know that Regions is deeply committed to a culture of inclusion. And it's not just seen through the guest on our podcast today. It's interesting to me that the guests that we have are folks that two of which I've known for a while and a new friend. So I'm going to introduce them to you first, and then I'm going to do a little bit more of an intro. So before we get to sort of the conversation part, our guests today are going to be my friend Henry Yu, who's president of the Hong Kong Association of Atlanta and president of the National U.S. Hong Kong Business Association. Our other guest is Michelle Kang. She's the VP of External Affairs for the Korean American Chamber of Commerce. And then my friend Shamron Karani, who is with Karani Real Estate Investments and Platinum Donuts, and an all-around good guy, as is Henry, and an all-around good gal, as is Michelle. So looking forward to a great conversation today. And another way that I thought I would open the conversation is sort of making an announcement. And that announcement goes back to later last year in 2020, where we, Regions Bank, were recognized by the Export-Import Bank of the United States as Lender of the Year. We were awarded this for our outstanding support of America's exports, and it was given at a conference which is the largest conference in EXIM history. It says, and this is from a public relations quote that you can find online, Regions Bank has been an EXIM delegated authority lender since 1994 and an EXIM letter of credit policyholder since 1991. Over the past year, Regions Bank has processed more than $65 million worth of letters of credit transactions and is an assignee lender on several EXIM short-term credit exposure insurance policies. We'll get into why that's important shortly, but what I want to do is let the listeners know that we are a serious player when it comes to export and import. The government entity that oversees that has recognized us as the best around, and I didn't say that, they did. So, it's on their website, and just wanted to share that with you all as we head into the conversation. One more thing in regards to intro before we have a little bit of conversation with our guest. I was at the Mitsubishi Classic yesterday. Got to play golf with some of those guys, and oh yeah, pretty nice, huh? No, but hey, notice there are no pictures of my golf swing. The fellowship was great, but I wanted to mention on the podcast today that I had an opportunity to visit with the Special Needs School of Gwinnett, and I know that they're friends with with this program. I'm getting looks around the room that everybody has some familiarity with Special Needs School of Gwinnett, and just wanted to use this platform to recognize them. What a wonderful organization. We were talking about sort of how do you know when you're getting it right, and that conversation led us to the point that you're getting it right when people make an effort today to share that with you. I think that's probably sort of a lost art, the lost art of a thank you letter. What do we go to now? Hey, can you give us an online review? Well, the next step above that is I believe a heartfelt handwritten letter, or maybe a long style email. And I just know that some of the parents that have students at Special Needs School of Gwinnett are regularly singing their praises for the opportunity that their children have to learn in an environment that's friendly to them, and most importantly, gives them confidence. This perspective that I heard yesterday and the day before was, these children have lived a life of being told why they can't do something. They go to Special Needs School of Gwinnett, and they're taught how they can do that thing that they've been told before that they couldn't do. And if that doesn't get you fired up for Special Needs School of Gwinnett, I just wanted to – it wasn't on my notes. I added it this morning, but I was just thinking about them over the last 24, 48 hours about the role that they play for our community and the children that need them most. So just a shout out to Special Needs School of Gwinnett and how much we love them and how much we appreciate them. So the live studio audience really loves Special Needs School of Gwinnett. So first off today, my friend Henry Yu and my new friend Michelle Kang are with us. And as I mentioned before, Henry's with the Hong Kong Association of Atlanta, and Michelle's with the Korean American Chamber of Commerce. And again, in an effort to I haven't thought about this, but in an effort to make an initial region's introduction to your members here during Asian American Pacific Islanders Month, I wanted to welcome you to the show and just say, can you tell us a little bit about your organizations? And we'll go ladies first. And Michelle, if you could tell us a little bit about your chamber, we'd love to hear about what you do.
Sure. Thank you very much for inviting me.
My pleasure.
And then congratulations on the Lender of the Year award.
Thank you.
Regions Bank. And especially this May is the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and thank you very much for celebrating with us.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
You're very generous, and then this is what the local business and local bank has to do, right?
It is.
Thank you. So the Korean American Chamber of Commerce, Atlanta, Georgia, is established in 1971 by the business owners to take care of themselves and expand the business community.
Wow, so you're celebrating 50 years this year.
That's true. And then our members, they comprise of the restaurant business owners, and there's a real estate business owners, and you name it. There's 2,400 businesses in Gwinnett County. It's the Korean-owned businesses.
Wow.
So we had a huge business community, especially in Duluth area and Gwinnett County area.
Yeah.
And then our relationship with other professional associations, like beauty supply associations, and then grocers associations, and then real estate associations, that we have very close relationship. Most of the time we work together for the big project and for a huge event.
Wow.
And then our mission, because so many businesses, 2,400 businesses in the area, but the market is already kind of saturated. We need new customers. So our job is to reaching out to Gwinnett business territory, and then I want Korean business owners have more customers from Gwinnett area, not just Korean customers. That's our goal there, and that's our focus on right now.
Okay, so you want more guys like me coming in, because if you came in, you would see that we have a pretty diverse table, right? We don't all look the same, and we can work together. So that's that's a great mission, and we're excited to help you in that mission.
Sure.
If you think about celebrating 50 years as an organization, if you're going to have a big gala, if there's something we can do to help or support, please let us know. So thank you for your introduction. We're going to talk about some good stuff again here in a second. Henry, tell us about your you're representing a couple organizations. Your choice or both. You're a busy man. You're always very busy when we're together. So how about an introduction of yourself and what you do?
Thank you, JD. Good morning. And actually, this morning is off to a great start because I'm meeting two new friends, Michelle and Shamrat.
Yes.
This is excellent. And by the way, I'm Henry Yu, president of the Hong Kong Association of Atlanta. We are actually one of 12 chapters in 12 U.S. cities under the umbrella of the National U.S. Hong Kong Business Association, which I'm the presiding president. But worldwide, we have a Federation of Hong Kong Business Associations worldwide. So I think we are all non-profit organization, basically helping and promoting. We are non-government entities and promoting trade and investment with Hong Kong, China, and Asia because of the proximity to Hong Kong and China to Asia. So we have done a lot of actually helping importers and exporters throughout the United States and throughout the world in terms of helping them find partners and suppliers and customers worldwide. So this month being so important to AAPI, obviously I will be remiss if I do not mention any. I mean, in terms of what we are trying to do, I truly believe in engagement. Certainly, that include engaging business aspect. AAPI is more than culture, heritage, and education. There has to be a business proposition.
Wow.
That's one of the reasons why when JD approached me, I'm happy to talk about AAPI in terms of our contribution on the business side, in terms of working with banks like Regions Bank. By the way, congratulations being recognized by Exim Bank. This is an honor indeed, and I'm sure a lot of hard work from your lending group as well as your international team. So
yes, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we're proud of it. And I appreciate you bringing up the idea of AAPI as it relates to business. Because I do think that typically a month like that is primarily cultural and as appropriate. I certainly agree with that. But thank you for challenging us to think about it a little more broadly to include our business approach as well. Look, typically I'd have this conversation, but I can't resist going ahead and doing an introduction with Shamron Karani. Let's just get the introductions out of the way because the conversation is going to be a little bit different in the short amount of time we have together. Tell us about yourself, Shamron. We can't wait to hear.
Yeah. So my name is Shamron Karani, and of course I'm here as a client of Regions Bank and representing my family. We do operate a family-owned and operated business here in Gwinnett and in Atlanta and Georgia. So we're very much so part of the community. And here I am. It's an honor to meet Michelle and Henry, just meeting new people, and it's great learning new things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Each of you said about meeting new people. I wonder if that's a result of what we've been through. Where we haven't been around a lot of people over the last 14 months. So I don't take it lightly then that you all would spend a Friday morning with me to talk about what you're good at. It feels right, to be together and to talk about stuff again and do so with a smile on our face and engagingly. So I just want to say thank you. You could have been anywhere else today. I realize that. You have important responsibilities. You have broad commitments. And the fact that you'd give us a little bit of your time, we're very grateful for that. So here's a couple of questions I thought that maybe we could talk through. And y'all are going to kill me already, but I'm just dying to ask the third question for Michelle and Henry. you work with a lot of companies. You've seen everything from startups to mature companies. What's your favorite within your career? What is your favorite success story of a company that you've worked with? And you don't have to say name. You can give
Of
sort of
course.
industry.
Sounds good. Actually, that's my intention, not to mention the company's name, obviously. But I think since I'm here now in Atlanta, I've been here since 1999, I'm going to tell you a success story involving an Atlanta company.
Okay.
Okay. I will not mention names and industry. It's manufacturing and value-added services. What they have done is certainly 4 years ago, I am still a consultant to them, but I've been advising them in terms of how they should think about utilizing the bank's line of credit to help them grow the business. And then back then, 4 or 5 years ago, they were doing about probably $5 to $6 million sales, and started to export. So, and then they approached me. Basically, it's all we met during networking functions and blah blah blah. So I guess I guess people like to do business with people they like. So, and then maybe a couple of weeks later after we met, and we talk about, Mr. Yu, how can we grow a business? So I asked him about, well, if you are going to be exporting, right? Obviously, you need to speed up your receivables, right? So, and then he has been using letter of credit when he's selling overseas, right? And sometimes those companies, they only give them, for example, the letter of credit sometimes have time, right? It could be 30 days, 90 days after LC, right? After the bill of lading.
Right.
So he's stuck with waiting for 90 days to get the money. He said, look, I asked him, which bank you working with? It's a local community bank. I said, well, you need to think about having a bank big enough to help you with your full range of banking needs, which include international banking and letter of credit and foreign exchange.
It does.
But also small enough to provide the personal service, that you need, just like a small bank, right?
Right.
So you have relationship managers. You don't have to call the bank and take an hour to find out who your relationship managers is, and
Yeah,
so
somewhere
that's a pain in the neck. I mean, being a
recognize
banker,
you.
right?
Yeah.
So the success story was there. So
Hey, Henry, I'm going to interrupt you. You called me before we got here, right? And how did I answer the phone? Hey, Henry.
well, this is it. I mean,
that's how it should go.
That's what small business like to do. When they call the bank, they're not talking to a pre-recorded message.
Yep.
Or they're not talking to maybe 4 or 5 individuals before they reach to the ultimate relationship manager. I mean,
right.
It's a pain in the neck sometimes. I mean, so to make a story short, really, so basically, I was asking, well, have you considered changing bank, right? So I signed an NDA, so I look at his financial and blah blah blah, and without mentioning in terms of the amount of credit, I said, well, immediately, I think what you can do is, number one, talk to your buyers, right? Ask them, well, you know what? By the way, 90 days, 120 days are fine. I can sell you more, right?
Yep.
Concurrently, I told this the CEO and the CFO, you need to approach a bigger bank, so that they have an international department. I think regions have an international department. So immediately I made the referral, and then the rest is history. I helped them negotiate a slight increase in overall line of credit, which include sort of a sub-limit for the U.S. bank, the Atlanta bank, to discount the time LC letter of credit he's receiving from sales of his products.
Exactly.
That's improving working capital. So he was very pleased to getting a slight increase in line of credit, but also allowing him to sell more overseas by opening even in terms of time credits. Time letter of credit. So he's extremely happy. By the way, I was able to negotiate a better structure, and also 25 to 35 basis point reduction in overall interest rate. Because keep in mind too, the company has been improving its profitability. So I think the bankers are very receptive.
Yes.
In terms of, they know their customer well. So this is a win-win for the bank. They are seeing more business. For the company, they are increasing their profitability, really, and but because of improvement in cash flow. That's what it is. So this is my success story, I think, really, and one of the stories in Atlanta, Georgia. So.
Yeah, I love it, and that's the value that you bring. It's an interesting point because so often our business owners, even CEOs, do not understand the pin-up opportunity to expand their businesses within their own financial statements. Because and this is a conversation I'd like to have in a moment because I want Michelle to share if she has a success story. But this idea of rate and fee versus access to capital, is there a difference, and how important is it? So I'm going to table that one. See if Michelle has a success story to share, because I bet you have some interesting commentary on rate and fee versus access to capital. So did you think of a success story you'd like to share?
Yeah. Not exactly, but I want to share some story.
Okay.
So
yeah.
sure. So in
Please
terms
do.
of the banking relationship, and then as you know, there's several very successful Korean bank businesses in the Gwinnett area.
Yes.
And then also there's many wholesaler, doing the exports and imports from international countries, especially from China and Korea. And because of the language barrier and the comfort of the speaking same language, they are using Korean banks for the letter of credits and everything, and
Yes.
just like a wire transfer to go to internationally. So I just want to recommend Regions Bank to reach out to Korean community, the Korean community business community, and then because you have some other aspects and or benefits you can provide to the Korean business owners other than Korean bank. So they will be love to get to know the Regions Bank, because honestly, and then Regions Bank is literally new to the Korean business owners, because the Korean bank is doing very well. I mean,
Yes.
for the small business lendings and exports and imports, and then the letter of credit, that aspects, and they
Yeah.
are doing very well. So I just recommend the Regions Bank to reach out to Korean business community, and then
Okay.
you will get a lot of business owners there.
You know what? I love the way that you shared that with me, and along my life's journey, I so value when people give me an opportunity to get better. And as as the regional executive for Regions Bank, you just shared with me how we can get better, and it's not as much as hey Michelle, how many loans can you give me? It's about what perhaps can we do to help with a community that we're not very well known in. And even your question told me how we can get better. It would be very difficult for one of your chamber members to walk into our branch and not be able to communicate with us. And that's something that I need to look into and figure out if we desire to engage with you and your members. Language is the first hurdle. I mean, I've been in foreign countries before, and certainly a smile goes a long way, but a smile can't talk about the intricacies of a banking need. So thank you so much.
And I want to add something, because the first generation is just my parents' age. They are like a 70s, or they are 70s or something. So second generation or 1.5 generation, they took over the parents' businesses. So they were born in here, and then they went to school here. So they have a better, the relationship is speaking of the language barrier. So they can over the language barrier, right? And then their mindset is a little bit different from their parents' generation. They don't think the market is only confined in the Korean community. They want to reach out to the Gwinnett community, or even Georgia, or even the country, or even the international.
Right.
There's a very successful like a wholesalers and a huge company looking for the better relationship with the banking businesses.
Well, and I think it works together really well. In Gwinnett County, probably telling you something you already know, and Mike and Amanda have heard this probably on every episode since we started. Deposits held in banks in Gwinnett County total $19 billion. $19 billion. By the way, it went up from $18 billion to $19 billion from 2019 to 2020. $1 billion. Now, what happened? Government stimulus, PPP. It'd be an interesting conversation to know what your clients are doing with PPP money, because there's a lot of it on the sidelines. That's an entirely different topic. But in Gwinnett, just think $19 billion are being held in depository accounts in this county. And we have less than $500 million of it at Regions Bank. Now, I share that because that is one way that we gauge success broadly. More closely would be today, as we sit here, Michelle was really nice. I want our audience to know that Michelle was really nice by asking her question, because before we got on the air, she asked me how many AAPI customers do we have. And so that was about 25 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to think where we are. So would I ever look to gauge our success with your members based on that 19 billion, 500 million number? No. I would look to gauge success not even by account opening, but by knowing that perhaps we helped somebody one time. Because if we've helped someone one time, then that means we're going to get to help them again. So I want to be just real clear. I share the numbers because the market there's a huge market opportunity. And there's place for absolutely a need for the Korean community to continue and absolutely endorse the comfort of dealing with their own with your own Korean banks. They're great banks. They're excellent banks. And given the opportunity for that like 1.5 generation or second generation, if there's something we can do, then we're happy to do that. So that maybe a year from now when you ask me that question, I can say, let me share with you a success story of somebody that we got to know. So I'd like to, I don't know if I have an award, but Michelle gets the award for the most compelling question back to the host.
All right.
That was
Congratulations.
really good.
Good job. Good job.
Difficult question, too.
Yeah, it's really compelling. Wow, we're at 30 minutes already. I want to talk for a second, and Shamron, get you in a little bit.
Sure.
Sort of roundtable, if we could, this idea of in today's business, the importance of rate and fee versus access to capital. You get what I'm saying? I mean, for so long, especially in a banking town like Atlanta, there's a couple of decisions that are made by your business owners. There's decisions that you guys make at Karani, and there's one primary lens, and historically that primary lens is, how do I reduce my taxes? No doubt. My buddy Jeff Forrestal at CPA at Forrestal CPAs, or Daniel Sosby over at Moore Stevens and Tiller, those guys do a really good job of helping business owners, manage their tax liability. A lot of times when a business owner only looks at their business through that lens, there's two things that they sometimes unfortunately compromise unknowingly, and that is that those two things are this. Number one is access to capital. What importance does my balance sheet, if I've only made decisions on rate and fee my entire career, have I weakened my balance sheet to the point that I can't get the best deal? The other thing I've learned of late, especially since COVID hit, was the second generation business owner that you mentioned, Michelle. It really applies here, because if companies have made all their decisions based on tax management as opposed to building a balance sheet, when you get ready to sell that business and you've taken everything out of the business with no value in the business, then you're not going to return. You're not going to get the return on that business when you sell it that you think you will, with all due respect. So if you don't mind, I'm going to start with Henry. because it looks like you're ready. You're ready to go with an answer.
I'm in trouble.
Rate and fee versus access to capital, not only for AAPI business owners, but this is a question that goes across all business owners. Your thoughts?
Well, I guess certainly, I think I want to elaborate in terms of agreeing with Michelle in terms of first generation, second generation, right? I think being a first generation, we tend to probably, in terms of Asian business, leaving more money in the account, what we call average collective balances, is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is how the first generation were brought up overseas. I was born in Hong Kong, so in terms of banking practices in Asia, a little bit different. So, but the second generation, they are more sharp in terms of looking at fees, make sure you don't leave too much balances in the account. So it's a combination. It's a learning process, even for banks. Now, for small business, obviously, I've come across many small business, whether it's AAPI or mainstream American companies. It's really, they all try to squeeze the banks in terms of getting the best rate, right? But at the same time, I think the mentality is a lot of small business, because of obviously they need to increase profitability, right, and bottom line. I think one of the issue is they tend to look at that rate squeezing is a transaction with a transactional orientation rather than relationship and partnership.
Yeah.
And I think for the older generation, that is evolving, having the second generation taking over for AAIP businesses, is you probably see a combination of the young professionals and owners being more receptive to new ideas. For example, a bundling of services, and then the bundling of fees.
Yeah.
In addition to what you pay when you borrow your line of credit, right, under your line of credit. So having that willingness from the second generation to work with banks, because for the older generation, I view that we look at banks as sort of helping us on specific transactions, short-term focus, vis-a-vis, I'm sure Shamron has a good idea too, involving Regions Bank in this case as a strategic partner growing the business together. So because of that shift in terms of relationship, Region is a partner to his business growing.
Yeah.
So obviously he will receive a lot of advices in terms of how he should structure his balance sheet, right?
Right. Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
put back, after you have a successful year, making sure on a regular basis you put back your money into your business through retained earnings and blah, 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 blah.
Amen.
Dress up your balance sheet, improve your cash flow, that will improve your short, working capital ratio, and you name it. Yep. So these are evolving for the young second generation, but the first generation is more old style banking.
Yeah, I think you make really, really viable points. I come from a family-operated business, and of course, my father is first generation, and I'm second generation. And Michelle, you mentioned this as well, that we're born here and raised here, and that kind of helps us squash the language barrier, of course. And language is really important. JD, you and I were talking earlier, and I asked you, you sound great on the radio. Why are you so good at this? And you said, my degree is in communications.
Yeah, not finance.
It's not finance. That's funny. Although you helped me a lot in that, though. But communication is key. If you're not able to communicate, that really creates a big gap between you and your client. And I guess sometimes we talk about communication as kind of what we're doing now, right? I'm talking to you, you're listening, and it's exactly that word, listening, right? But how many people listen to understand? So
as opposed to just hear,
just hearing,
or
what I mean?
Thinking about what they're going to say next,
or how are they going to respond, or how does it benefit me? Right? Too many people are listening, and the first thing they're thinking about is, okay, well, what's in it for me, right? And I think having banking partners and creating a team around you of people that understand what is in it for them. As a business owner, one of the first things I do as a leader is I make sure people that are on my team, whether they work for me or they work with me, they understand what's in it for them, right? And that's just not me communicating and telling them, hey, this is what you're going to make, or hey, this is what you're going to get, but them having enough respect for me to understand that I have their best interest in mind, right? And I think as a business owner, it's my responsibility to have not only the people that work for me, but the people that work with me, their best interest in mind. And going right back to Regions and me being your client, I know JD has my best interest in mind, and at the same time, he protects the bank that he works with, and we grow our business together, like Henry had mentioned, right? A strategic partnership versus a short-term vision on just providing me capital. I pay you back on your loan. See you later, right? That's usually the first generation transaction. But nowadays, me and JD might go hit a golf tournament together or go hit a soccer game together, like we're going to do this weekend, I believe. So, first of all, thank you, JD, for that. I appreciate it. You got me some tickets, some cool things. I'm your client. I pay you some high-level interest rates. I know I do. I sign those checks on a monthly basis, so I know that I'm paying you a lot of money. But I'm glad I am, right? I'm glad that I have a strategic partner like Regions, like JD. I'm very happy to make my monthly payment. Because I'm a growing business as well, right? You've provided me some capital on several real estate deals, and we're doing one together right now in the city of Snellville. For all of our Atlanta, Gwinnett County listeners, it's actually a deal right on Scenic Highway. And
124.
124. And I knew you'd know it, Henry. So just don't go steal it from me. I'm just kidding. But, JD, you understand my business. Regions Bank understands my business. And that's what makes you guys a strategic partner. No business person wants to go to his banker and say, let me teach you my business and then you can provide me capital. That's not how it works, right? So I think communicating to understand each other versus just listening or responding is very important in the banking industry. I would like my strategic partners to listen to me, to understand, and not just to listen.
Thank you. Well, you bring up a good point. And it sort of goes back to, how do we separate ourselves? Banking is really about the only profession that I can think of where I have to go out and sell Regions to you. So I have to get you on board with me first. And then what do I got to do? I got to go back to the office and convince the credit partners and the other people.
You got an army behind you
to in turn do business with you. So we're selling on both sides. I sell the bank to you, and I sell you to the bank.
So you're like my bridge?
I'm a bridge. Right. Yeah, we're going.
So I got to cross you every time I want to do a deal.
That's right.
I better have a good relationship with you.
And I better know, in order to sell you to the bank, I better know what's going on.
You got to know me. You got to know my business.
And you know what? I think how you do that. Look, I've been around some bankers before where they go in and they have a list of questions, and it's like, okay, Michelle, please tell me what this is.
It's the typical protocol, right?
You get conversation and the one compelling question that I've found always works is, hey, tell us how we're doing. Tell me how we're doing. If you ask a bank customer to tell you how you're doing, you better sit back because they will tell you.
Yeah.
Henry, you had something to say.
Actually, I was going to comment actually on my success story. This is something that is very noticeable among the AAPI business.
Okay.
The first generation, I can tell you, for example, when I negotiate with the bank on the increase in line of credit, the bank immediately asks, well, we'll consider a reduction in interest rate, but I also want to tighten up the covenant. For the first generation, they will look at it, you don't trust us. But for the younger generation, it's different in terms of, because this is actually a father and son team.
You're bringing up a great topic.
It's transition. Yeah. And then I think I mentioned about strategic partnership, relationship. So what the bank is doing is to actually protect the company as well as protecting the bank by having restrictive covenants, so that you don't go out crazy and spend and lose all your money.
Right.
I mean, this is a typical. The first generation sort of, you don't trust us. Immediately, this is the Asian mentality.
Right.
But the second generation, I think after several maybe just discussion 5-10 minutes, they get it. a more restrictive covenant is good for the company.
Covenants are designed to protect your business.
The business as well as the bank.
Not to
Partnership.
suffocate your business.
So it's a partnership, right? But also allow you to increase rates. I mean, reduce rates. Increase rate on the, increase rate on the
Be
deposit.
careful, Henry.
No,
Say it
increase
the right way. I
no.
know.
You haven't increase rate on the deposit.
I'm teasing.
Increase rate on the deposit.
That's right. That's right. Michelle?
I want to piggyback on the conversation like a strategic partnership, and I want to put it this way, like a long-term relationship. So taking care of each other. So you know the customers and clients, and then we know there's a banker and who knows me or my business very well. Whenever I have any trouble or whenever I have some need, and then I can go the best big banker who care about my business, and then we taking care of each other. The long-term relationship. We don't care about that much about the rates and the fees, but the long-term relationship. So whenever you have come up with like a promotion in your bank, and then you just reach out to the customer, here's just something good, going on our bank, and then are you interested in to participate or get some promotion rates or something?
Yeah.
So that's the relationship. So
It is.
that's how beneficial to each other, like a banking. Bank and the customer and clients as well.
I love it.
I just want to piggyback off that. Michelle makes a really good point that you're definitely from the second generation, right? You were like, you're not so much worried about the rate and the fee. You'd rather be more malleable in your business, right? Like I can pick up the phone and I can make on-the-fly decisions that are beneficial to my business. My banker understands them and supports them. I don't mean to say it so quickly, but that's literally what I took from what you said, right? That you value being more malleable versus just a rate and a fee, right? Because that's just a transaction. It's not necessarily a relationship.
I from my side of that point, it feels right to me when I'm discussing a customer and I refer to the customer as we. You get what I'm saying? So there's a
camaraderie.
there's a large facility up in Hall County. It's a big cold box, and years ago, it's a freezer company. Years ago, we started this business, and I know the chairman of the board, the CEO, CFO. They're all friends of mine, and when I talk about that company, I don't talk about them. I talk about we. I talk about us, and that's when I feel like you've gotten to a point, because I've also heard our banking customers refer to us together. And when you're at the when you're at the table and you share the vision, because what we need to do, whether it's in the AAPI community or broadly, is what are you trying to accomplish? Because if you're just trying to accomplish getting the cheapest capital, where are you going to get that, and what are you going to get out of it? Because when I was a kid, they McDonald's started some meal deal where you got everything for $3 or whatever. And then, Wendy's has it now. My kids are always ordering the 4 for $4, and everything's just sort of inexpensive, shall we say. But
what's the deal, not the value? Too many people are saying, what's the deal?
That's
and not
great.
What's the value?
You're exactly right. Yeah, and in banking, we struggle to find the value because the community has defined it as the deal.
Right.
And what we can what's the deal? What's the value? There have been times in the last couple of weeks, within 30 minutes, I have a conversation with Shamron, and within 30 minutes, I have the same conversation with his dad, Sultan. They're entirely different conversations.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. We're totally different.
And I have to know them each so that I can answer the same question with the same answer a little differently.
Yes.
And I think that's what should make us. But we're not asking questions to interrogate anybody. If I just went home to my wife Amy and just interrogated her a little bit and had her fill out a form of what her day looked like, that wouldn't be very good. What is it? How are things going? Last time we were together, this was going on. How did that go? Now this is really cool. At Regions, we're really using AI to get into how our customers transact business. And what we found is that we can go to a commercial business and tell them things that they're doing that they don't even realize that they're doing. Mm-hmm. How they're using their accounts, how the line of credit changes with their account balances and things like that. And it's very compelling, especially, you know, right now in every business community. AAPI especially, and I know those great banks are talking about this as fraud prevention. You know, we can go to a customer, and I think people figure out that the bankers that work for me just sit around and look at all these transactions already. But we know how many checks you're writing. Did you know that every time you write a check, your account number is out on the street for somebody to take? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every time. Yep. And all they got to do is get that account number, and if you're not, so what we do?
It happens to me very often.
Yeah.
In my payroll, right? So somebody will get my account number and they'll make a fraudulent check and they'll go to a check cashing location. And the check cashing location, sometimes when they're not managed well, or they might have a relationship with the person making the fraudulent checks, they start cashing these checks, the money starts coming out of my account. It takes me a week or two to realize that it was done fraudulently. Then I got to go talk to my, all the folks at my bank, et cetera, get it reversed or try to get it reversed, figure out what happened, and it's a long process that my payroll department really pulls their hair out. I think we now have crossed the mark of, I think, almost 800 employees. Wow. So every 2 weeks we've got over 800 checks being written. So we're very vulnerable to say.
Well, yeah. So we, even to you, the conversation about positive pay, where you tell us which checks you've written, the number, the amount, and the date, and we cross-reference that. Now, heck, rate and fee.
Mm-hmm. Rate and fee.
There's a charge for that. Yeah. Well, let me tell you. It sounds expensive until somebody cashes a $28,000 check.
And you can't get it back.
Yeah, that's right. Interesting.
But, my comment is actually, if a company is having a great banking relationship partner, right, I think the company will be more inclined to leave some more balances in the account without being asked. I mean, that's a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Really. Yeah, we see that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Our strongest relationships have the highest balances.
Yeah,
so,
every business owner, I think, has more than one bank that they use or bank with. But we all have a preferred bank, right? So we all have somebody that we're going to be like, hey, I'm going to leave my money hanging out with JD, right? So,
that reflects relationship.
I like that idea, though. The preferred bank.
Yeah. Oh, it's happening daily, whether we as business owners recognize it or not. We have 4 or 5 business contacts, and we have a preferred bank, right? This is who I trust the most. I trust them. Who do I trust?
Now you really got my brain working, because that's a whole different pitch, really. I mean, because you don't become someone's exclusive bank until you've earned that exclusivity, and you don't get to exclusivity until you start off as preferred.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Shamran, your business, you're probably using more than 4 different types of banking products and services. I'm pretty sure.
I'm probably, just off the top of my head, 6. Definitely more than 4, probably closer to 6.
That's my guess.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Henry, you mentioned something about, your knowledge and you serve at a very high position in the organization that you're with, and you know a lot about business. So it's very nice to meet you. And again, JD, thanks for making the introduction to both Michelle and Henry. I mean, these are the opportunities that we as business owners live for. Right? It's not just about making money.
Feelings mutual here. So
okay,
it's the beauty of a relationship.
It's the beauty of a relationship.
You're exactly right. Mm-hmm. And how could we end any better than talking about the beauty of a relationship? And I'm thankful for a new friendship that we started a couple weeks via email and is now personalized. Henry, I'm thankful for a relationship that we started a couple years ago that got put on pause due to COVID. So good to see you when I walked in the lobby today.
Remember, actually, I will be doing one more with Regions Bank.
That's right. Tell me about it. Yeah, real quick. Remind me, do we have a date on that?
Well, I probably drive Thomas crazy. I say, Thomas, let's confirm the date, and most likely it's going to be mid-June.
Yeah.
We believe in planning, getting all the speakers, make sure that we have the right flow of information from different panelists and blah, blah, blah. So I think it's most likely middle of June.
Yeah.
I think we have lined up all the speakers and ready to go.
Looking forward to it.
Likewise.
Yes. Awesome. It's so great to walk in and see you. And Sham, thanks, man. I hope you have a nice, and thank you for, helping us get better. Each of you helped us get better today. Mm-hmm. I promise you, people at headquarters in Birmingham listen to this, and they will know that we can get better as a result of today. I wish each of you a very happy weekend, and I hope that you have always have a nice month, but an especially awesome AAPI month. We celebrate it with you, and we're there with you. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It
you.
was
Thank
good.
you. Enjoy it.
I
JD.
enjoyed
Thank
the
you,
show.
Regent.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
it.
Bye-bye.
You got it.